So I'll just, fantastic. So, so what we're going to do is, if you do go onto the mural board, then we can use this as a sort of focus, and I'll share my screen as well in a second, so that for those of you who perhaps are struggling with the tech, then you can sort of follow along, but hopefully everybody will be able to join in, because I'm hoping that we can leverage, like I say, leverage the power of all of us in learning about thought leadership. So click on the link, and I'm seeing quite a few people arriving on there, and I'll share my screen now. So hopefully you can now see my my screen, and what we're going to do is you can follow me on here. Okay. So if we have a look, we're going to look at this part here. What comes to mind when you think of leadership? So I'm going to jump straight into an activity, because I'd like to connect you with the topic first. So we've kind of connected with our bodies, connecting with the screen, and now I want you to think about leadership. What does leadership mean for you? When you think of all the things about leadership, stick in a post-it note, pretty much as good as the one that's on there right now, about that size. Don't make them too big, because there's a lot of us. And stick one or two things up. What does leadership mean for you? Cool. So I'll take just a couple of minutes. I'll set the timer up here for there we go, for a couple of minutes. And while we're doing that, we'll just sort of rack our brains with all the things that we think of when we think of leadership. What type of leadership am I talking about? You can choose. Perhaps when you think of yourself as a leader, what kind of attributes and things would you consider that you would have to have if you were playing a leadership role? Or a leadership role. And if you're not writing, or you're sort of hanging out, have a look at what other people have written. See if there's anything missing. Oh, timer seems to have stopped. Cool, brilliant. The timer seems to have stopped working, but that's okay. We'll leave it there. So have a look now of what people have, what you've all written in terms of leadership. Got things around safety, around courage, trust, having a vision, bringing out the best in others, navigating uncertainty. A leader has followers. Okay, fantastic. So in the world of agility and organizational change, Certainly, leaders has become a huge topic. And if we go wider than that in terms of the world around us, we see leaders who making all these decisions for us globally and the impact that that has on our everyday lives. So we also can go the other way and look down at leadership as an act or a behavior. We can be a leader at any time, leading by example. So leadership has been sort of well thought about in our agile community, in our organizational change community, and it's been fairly well written about in the world at large. I think that was the broken timer finally deciding it had its day. So what about thought leadership? So how do we go from being a leader to being a thought leader? What is the difference? What is going on with thought leadership? So I'm going to open up this box next to it, and I would like for us to do, I'm going to give the timer another go. We'll see how we go. And this time, I would like us to do exactly the same exercise, but constrain the stickies or your thoughts to what do you think about thought leadership? Is it the same? Is it different? How is it different than leadership? What do we think about that? What do we know about thought leadership? So again, if you finish writing or you're observing, have a look at what other people have written. Let's have a look and see what there is there. So contributing or sharing or creating knowledge. So there's a lot of stickies here with the word knowledge in. Inspiring new ideas. Being vulnerable. Lots of ideas. So about half a minute left, and then we'll have a look at some of the formal definitions and see what we think of these. So if we sort of look at the words that stand out in thought leadership, I'm seeing knowledge, I'm seeing inspiration, I'm seeing a few things in here about the vulnerability, diversity, different perspectives, and that will be the timer. So what can we see that's the difference between these two boxes? Feel free to come off mute and say what you see. What's the difference between these two things? What are we seeing?
Well, there's definitely a shift in the role. In the previous one, you could see those as descriptions, job descriptions for a leader or a manager in place on a team tactically. In the second box, it's projected forward into people who are not in a direct leadership role, perhaps, but that are sharing to the community, like to the network, to the world.
Yeah, I'd like to follow on from that, if I may. Yeah, I would say that the first one is about creating an environment, about creating a space to allow thought leadership. And thought leadership, I would say, is kind of leading an idea or posing an idea, either from an authoritative point of view or just provoking the innovation of new ideas. So one is creating, the other one is sort of giving, almost a directive. Don't know, that's what I'm picking up.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share anything about what they see here?
Could it be something like an invitation? Hi, Simon. How are you doing? An invitation to you know, to think rather than an invitation to act.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. So we've got these two sort of views, if you like, one into leadership, one into thought leadership. Let's have a look at what the original definition of thought leadership is. The original definition here, and you can find this really easily on, let me get people to, oh, you can see because I'm showing my screen, aren't I? Yeah, so the original thought leadership here, I'll zoom in on this, and you can either look at it on your own screen or through the shared screen. This top part here was written in 1994, so that's where the word first came from, in 1994, from Joel Kurtzman. And he wrote about the thought leader being the go-to expert, somebody who is very knowledgeable, and we saw this come out in the stickers, someone who's incredibly knowledgeable about a particular subject. Typically, they might be well known, speak at conferences, recognized by customers, industry experts, as being someone to go to have the answers, someone who is going to be able to sort of shine the light in the way forwards. So this was the original definition from 1994. And I do think that some of that is still very valid, still very real. In the years between 1994 and about 2013, really probably starting around sort of the turn of the millennium to 2013, the word thought leadership took a very deep dive into, or downward dive, I should say, becoming a fairly negative term. And some of the criticism, which is down at the bottom here, was really taken on board as people wanted to market their products and their services to be, everyone wanted to be the thought leader so that they could sell off the back of that. And there was a huge amount of rubbish content, or very thinly veiled sales material disguised as content, to enable companies and individuals to sell a whole load of stuff off the back of very little research or pragmatic experience. Then around 2013, the term started coming back into vogue, but this time with a slightly different meaning. And certainly within the agile space, the organizational change space, that meaning has changed into being something that, instead of being the only person who has all the right answers, the sage on the stage, the person who knows everything, it's someone who is able to not only bring innovation and have that expertise and knowledge, but also create that space to enable others to contribute and combine and share, because the power of the collective is typically greater, especially in complex environments, than the power of one person alone. We all know more than any one of us. And so thought leadership can still be thought of as that person who is able to be knowledgeable, someone who has good standing within the community, someone perhaps who's had some success at trying out the things that they have been practicing, someone who is looking forwards to what is next, what problems do we have today, and how can I help solve them, but also somebody who includes others, somebody who creates spaces for dialogue and discussion and connection around those topics to leverage the power of the network, the community, the industry at large, or the people inside your organizations, even your friends, whatever it takes to get the best solutions going forwards. And so I've written this section in the middle here to sort of append to that as well. And this was kind of my, it's not a whole definition, but it's something which I think that really should be noted, is that it's an incredibly generous act. Somebody who is willing to stand out, stand up for something they believe in, to make a difference, especially when that difference is making other people's lives better and easier. It's allowing people to be who they were meant to be, or who that they want to be. It's creating a space so that people can do things easier, better, and be more of themselves. And ultimately, it's a way of changing the way that we connect with the world around us and each other. So it's a big topic. It's a big ask, really, to stand up and try new things. And that's what our industry has. That's what our industry has been doing. We've been forging the way forwards in organizational ways of working, in the way that we connect with each other, the way that we do business. And it's hard. It's really hard. And if anyone has seen the LinkedIn posts and the constant battles and conflict when people put their work out there and other people rip it down and tear it apart, we all remember the browser wars. Sometimes in some dark corners of the internet, they still go on, I'm sure. I've generally blocked most of the people who are still shouting about browser wars. There's the browser wars before that. The framework wars. The different agile framework wars and things. So people put their work out there and other people shoot it down. It's difficult. It's a challenging role. So what I've thought about doing is really trying to encourage and create this platform for people who want to play this role. People who have had some success, know what they're talking about. I'm not interested really in creating a network of people who want to sell a bunch of products off the back of it. That may come, but that should be a byproduct of really wanting and desiring to make a difference. People who are really wanting a support network, people who want to work together to put new ideas, their ideas that perhaps have been peer reviewed, connected with others into the world at large to make a difference. There are certainly many thought leaders that we can think of that are already doing this, and this could be within our industry or outside of it. And what I thought we could do is, as for the rest of the, well, we've got a few different exercises, but as a background task, if you like, a background idea, if you feel like it, think about some of the thought leaders that there are in the world. It doesn't have to be just in our industry, it could be anywhere. And you can do a search, you can copy the image and paste it into here, and we can get a few pictures of all the thought leaders that we think inspire us, people who are people, the people who have done good things in the world. So we can do that sort of background task. If you feel like doing that, stick a picture in there of someone who's inspired you in terms of thought leadership. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to just draw a little picture. And this is going to be interesting because my tech is fairly basic. So you're going to have to excuse my drawing. It's going to be a fairly simple drawing. But I'd like to draw a circle. That's my circle. And really just dividing this into 3 parts. And the first part is where is my, oh, there we are. I don't use this very often, as you can see. The first part is which these 3 parts are, oh, thank you for the circle. That's much better. If you want to draw, whoever did that, if you want to put 3 parts in there as well, that would be fantastic. See, this is why the power of the community is so much better than the power of the one. You get some terrible person whose drawing skills are absolutely awful. Let's get rid of my drawing skills here. Fantastic. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide this thing up, and we're going to look at the benefits that thought leaders bring. And the first section here is the benefits that thought leaders bring is the benefit to the thought leader themselves. And in this case, because I'm assuming that we're here because we want to learn about thought leadership, because we want to be better thought leaders. We want to either become thought leaders or become better at it. So the first area is the you. How would being a thought leader benefit you? The second one is the organization in which you work for. This could be multiple organizations if you're a contractor or work for a consultancy. This is the, I'm going to move that for a second, not sure where that's come from. So this one is the organization of which you work for. This could be multiple. Okay, make sure I'm writing this. There we go. And you have to excuse me, all you people from the US. I've got the S in there. And then the last one is the community or the industry. I'm going to call it community. So we've got these 3 areas where that thought leadership can benefit. So we're going to do another little exercise down here. And I would like you to, using these 3 different areas, if you imagine that you are a thought leader, you might not have to imagine, you may be a thought leader under this definition. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to, again, we're going to use the stickers. And we're going to put in some stickers. What do you think are the benefits for you, for your organization that you work in, and for the community of being a thought leader? So I would have the following benefits, my organization has the following benefits, or the community and industry would have the following benefits of a thought, of you being a thought leader. What kind of things are we going to bring to the world if we play this role? Why do we need thought leaders? What's the benefit of them? And what's the benefit of you doing it? And because this one's a bit bigger, what we'll do is we'll put about 7 minutes on here. The time is not really working. I think the number of people in Mural is spinning it out a bit. Yeah, it's normally been okay, but what are the benefits? Thank you, whoever it was who helped me with the drawing of the circle. And again, if you're observing, obviously, feel free to read everybody else's, get an idea, see if you can see anything that's missing. And leave my circle alone. Okay. Circle might be dead. Killed the circle.
What you should do, Simon, is lock it.
Yeah, I'm just about to do that now.
Yeah.
Not sure I made it in time, maybe. I don't normally draw with this thing, so it's been, I thought I'd give it a go. Probably should have given it a go when there weren't 60 people online, but there you go. Fantastic. Right, now the circle cannot be broken. Fantastic. Right, so what have we got so far? Let's zoom in a bit on this box. So if you've put your stickers in the circle, then feel free just to move them down into the right box below, because then we'll have them all together. And if you can make your stickers the same size as everybody else's, that makes them reading a bit easier, because then we don't have to zoom in and zoom out. I love that one, notoriety. Yeah, fantastic. So seeing things in here, personal growth, the kudos, networking, there's a few networkings in there, validation of the work you're doing, probably different types of validation I would have thought too. More confidence, we'll see that a few times. Lots of learning and personal growth, huge amounts for sure. Better understanding of other cultures and different viewpoints. Fantastic. Good, okay. So let's have a look at the organization. Clearer vision, motivated teams, increased innovation, clarity of purpose and vision, innovation, greater reputation, diversity of opinions. I can't see this on here, but sort of staying at the cutting edge. Help the way we define businesses. Good. And then lastly, let's have a look at benefits for the community. Good example of a human, lead by example, absolutely. More sense making, more fulfillment, learn from each other, better pool of ideas, new idea generation, sense of purpose again, engagement, empathy. Brilliant. Okay, so would anybody like to speak out about anything that they see in these three areas, these three views of benefit? Anything anyone would like to say about what they see, or any comments, or anything they thought of, or any insights about thought leadership in these areas? What are we all thinking? Feel free to come off mute.
There's something that I would like to add.
I was gonna say modeling. Sorry about that, Jacariti. Modeling acceptance and learning for people new to the community. It actually is painful for me to sit in a room when I can tell people are sitting on their hands because they don't want to look like they're uninformed or those kinds of things. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Myron.
As a consultant or as a thought leader, it also provides me the opportunity to, experience mastery, purpose, and autonomy. So it drives me as an individual to be in that position where I feel fulfilled and bring about a change that I envision.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Absolutely.
I don't see any negative things here, Simon.
I guess it's because it's phrased as a benefit. Did you have anything that was negative, comrade?
No, I'm just saying, why aren't we doing this? Is where I'm coming from.
Yeah. So, well, that's a fantastic question. What's stopping us? So let's open that up. What is stopping us? Would anyone like to hazard a guess? Why aren't we all doing thought leadership?
Confidence, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, confidence. Anything else?
We may not look like a thought leader for some people. Did you get that? We may not look like a thought
We may
leader.
look like one.
Yeah. So thinking about that definition earlier, right? Like,
yeah, it can be quite constraining once you try and put a definition on something. And then do we fit that box, that mold? Are we that type of thought leader? Yeah, good insight.
Does it then become a black box solution like Agile has become to a certain extent for organizations, where they think Agile is, another something else that they can just pull off the shelf? So will that lead to that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Really good point. Just like, people do Agile for Agile's sake. Are we going to be a thought leader for a thought leader's sake? Very good.
And even if we're not going to be a thought leader for thought leader's sake, given modern propensity towards trolling, do we really think that these benefits outweigh what I suspect is quite a lot of misery that can come your way if you are brave enough to put an idea out there?
Yeah. Yes, it can be very disheartening when you take the courage to put something out there, and then there's someone just immediately writes, "Oh, what an idiot idea," or "You're like a school child." I've had somebody write the other day on some comment that I wrote. It is really disheartening, and it's hard not to take that stuff to heart. So as we say, there's the confidence, and there's courage, and there's risk.
Yeah, all that sort of mounts up to almost imposter syndrome, doesn't it? You second guess yourself then.
Yeah. Am I good enough? Imposter syndrome. It's like, what if I put it out there and everybody laughs, or they think that it's not good enough, or actually I thought I was good, but I'm way below par. I might give myself away, sort of thing. It is that sort of the confidence and the assurity that actually we're on the right track. Are we tuned in to the general level of competence in this subject?
So I wonder if there are mitigation strategies for dealing with this stuff in terms of where you choose to put your thoughts. What's the appropriate marketplace, for want of a better word, for doing that? Academics clearly are built, for example, to kind of throw their works into relatively safe, I suspect, peer-reviewed kind of publications. So they tend to be less subjected to Twitter trolling and other things. They are still putting it out there for kind of validation of their work, but there's a mechanism around them that is, at least from the outside world, it feels a little bit safer than some of the other kind of channels that are available to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a sandbox in development terms, a way of being safe, a way of exploring with people that you know have your best interest at heart. And the only comments they're going to give you, and they may be critical, they may be telling you that it's not good enough, but they're doing it with the intent of your growth in a kind way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
in
anything else?
addition, I would add to the one thing is the imposter syndrome and the courage, but also being aware that you have something to share that other people might find valuable. So I've had several discussions where some people in a group say, well, you should actually share this. And they said, no, this is nothing. So having that knowledge of you are actually contributing with the knowledge you have already, just getting it out there might be something for you as well.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
The community that you had started, Simon, the AWA community, last year, that was exactly the kind of sounding board that was perhaps needed for people like us who wanted to pursue thought leadership, but like just needed the community to be there for them.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
enjoyed it.
Yes. Yeah. That was one of my initiatives that didn't quite work out. For everything that works, there's 10 other failed ideas. Unfortunately, it was a great idea. Thank you for being part of that. And yeah, I totally agree. Building community is really, really important in everything that we do. It's for me, it's part of the consciousness shift or the awareness shift that I think that we need to solve today's problems. The things that require agility to work, for example, we can't solve today's problems or product and service delivery if we're always thinking about I. If the level of our awareness is about me and what can I get out of it, then we're never going to solve these problems. If that can be flipped on its head to say, how do we serve the greater good? We will make 10 times as much money by thinking about how can I serve rather than how can I grab. And community is a way not only to connect and share, but build that safe space so that becomes possible. And then the things that we define in a community space, we're worth 20 times more than anything that we can define on our own. And this is really the power of we, the power of us. So I've written out a few some thoughts of my own around the benefits. So just undo these. So they may be oops. Okay. Let me just see back out again. Didn't mean to do that. So feel free to have a read through these. These are just ones that I came up with. They may be the same, they may be different. There might be some additional ones. But the real value, I think, of being a thought leader is, for me, I can only really speak from my experience and from those that I've sort of helped around. But it was a massive relief for me when I could start working on the things that I cared about and that I could connect with others who cared about the same things and that I could see those things making a difference in the world. And the kind of sense of purpose and almost healing that went on in my own self over the last sort of, I don't know, 7 or 8 years since I've been in the public space doing this has been incredible. So many times I have battled inside organizations to be recognized for who I am and what I have brought. I feel so constrained by the hierarchical corporate entity. And I know that I can do more. And so I've been working inside these organizations, but at the same time, connecting into this community, building a community, so that when the real power of us, the real reason why we're meant to be here, if you like, whatever that means for you, can be expressed in this community that we build. So that the real intent, the real purpose of what you want to give to the world, the change that you want to see, that's a platform, it's a conduit for you to be able to do that, whatever that might mean for you. And that was really the relief that I found through community, through being a leader in this space, and really taking that on and starting to have the confidence through those connections to say, well, hey, look, I've seen this happening. This must happen elsewhere. What can I do about it? And if I can do something, will it help anyone else? And then getting that feedback saying, yes, that did help me. Thank you so much. And that's a real sense of achievement. That's a sense of value. And what the knock-on effect of that, which is I believe is secondary, is that then you start getting pulled into organizations. People want to pay you more because they've seen that you're about something more than trying to take. And everybody wants somebody like that. Everybody wants somebody who is willing to go the extra mile, someone who is willing to stand up for making a difference and actually doing it and speaking it and being it. And I think that that's part of what a thought leadership is. It's about being what the change, is that fairly cliche thing now, I guess. I think it was Gandhi who first said it, be the change that you hope to see in the world. And then that brings with it all sorts of side benefits. And that's what I really want to do with this program. I want to create a space that we can build this generation of people who want to make a difference in a safe space. There's too much clashing in these public spaces. So I would like to build something which is in a safe space that we can build something amazing. You can build something amazing. There's something that means something to you and those people you connect with, and then go out with confidence in the world and make a difference. So I'll leave these all here. I'm not going to read through all these because that would be, well, I'm sure it wouldn't be the most interesting thing, me reading a whole bunch of text on the screen. So they're there for you to have a look at. And so what I really wanted to do, let's have a quick look before we move on to the next bit, see if anyone's put anything in the pictures column. So we've got a few there. Someone's put me in there, thank you for that. Yeah, so there's a few more appearing now. So do feel free to stick some more in there. You might want to put a little label next to the person with their name, so that if anybody else wants to look them up after this, then they'll know who they're looking at. Because it's great. One of the techniques that I actually used when I was doing public speaking to start with was, and Simon Sinek actually is up there, was one of the people that I like to mimic, because he's such a good public speaker that when I first started doing this, I used to watch him again and again and again. How is he doing that? So instead of sort of he was able to sort of stand there and say these words, and they'd just come out, and it would be with all this power and emotion behind it. And it was like, oh, wow, that's cool. So knowing who these people are, you can sort of see how they are, see how they behave, and then take little bits from them, things that you think are valuable. That really helped me when I was beginning to sort of talk out in public. Great. So to summarize what we've got then, we've got a definition which is a little bit broader and I think a little bit more meaningful in today's world than the original definition of a thought leader. We've got somebody who also integrates with others. I think also to Marin's point around being careful about what that definition is, because any definition by definition has an inside and an out. And every time we create a role which has an inside and an out, are we marginalizing anyone? Are we pushing away some people who could be amazing thought leaders, but they don't fit our box of thought leadership? So I think for me, out of what I'm taking from this, is that really it's about being able to connect in with that inner power through a sense of service to those around us, connect in a safe space to be able to make a difference in the world, change this place for the better. That's the kind of thought leader that I'm thinking about. What the subject is that you're changing over, it could be anything really. So then we looked at the benefits. If you play this role, what benefits does this happen for the people around you, for yourself, for the community? And then we listed some of these things out here. And then the last thing I was going to talk about was this program, which I have put together, which I'm hoping that will inspire you to join, these are some topics of which I have been working on. And I want to tell you a little bit about this, the way that I've been thinking about this program. It's not a training course. Like you know, if you pay for a training course, you come along, you do that training course, and then you've learned some material, and that's it. You go away and do it. Thought leadership is a journey, and so the way that I'm seeing this is like it's almost a bit like a subscription service in a way. You pay for a year, and then you can join as many of these as you want. They'll all be recorded, so if you don't, I shouldn't imagine anyone's going to be able to have the time to join all of them, but you're welcome to join all of them if you do. Each one will be recorded, so that you could watch it again, but they'll be quite interactive. And we're going to learn about all the different aspects, things like, if you are a thought leader, who are you leading? What is your inspiration? What is that fire inside you? How do you identify that and articulate that in a way that you can actually do something useful with it and express that? What change are you trying to make, and who cares? Things like innovation. What is innovation? How do you actually find new ideas? It's all very well saying we want to be thought leaders and out there pioneering the front edge of whatever's going on, but if we can't come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things, then it's not going to be that useful. So what is innovation and how do we do it? We'll be exploring that, but each workshop will be around your idea. How will you innovate on your thing, and then be supported to be peer reviewed with that new idea, formulate that in a way that you can take it out there and test it out in the real world. And there's a whole bunch of things in here around ethics, around agile in the world dynamics. And also another aspect of this is that I would really like to make the course a bit more dynamic. So I've left sort of placeholders in here, and I'm happy to move things around as we learn more about each other on the program and the world around us. So for example, current trends, book reviews. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got a book list. There's about at least 60 in that book list, which I haven't read yet. And I even went to the point of actually buying some of these books, knowing that if I bought it, I'd read it. And now I've just got loads of books that I bought that I haven't read. So I thought that we do need to keep up with the current stuff. So in the program, those who are in the program, we can vote for stuff. And I can show you also how to speed read and take information out, summarize things, so that we can collectively learn from other people reading and summarizing things, so we can get a really good grasp on all the latest books, videos and things coming out, which we can then combine and use for whatever problem area that you are trying to solve yourself, whichever is your fire in your heart that you want to bring to the world. How can we combine these ideas and obviously recognizing those people that we're building upon, referencing them, I mean. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here, including building your own brand. What does that look like? There's different people in our space who build a certain aura around themselves, a certain way of being, a certain brand, I guess, about who is them. What does that mean for you? So looking at how do you present yourself? So there's a whole bunch of things here which I think are pretty essential, really, and questions that you need to look at if we're going to be really successful on a world stage. If we're really going to take and make a massive difference to potentially thousands, hundreds of thousands of people eventually, hopefully, when we change the way that we're working across the planet. So the last little bit about this program is, like I say, it's 48 half days. So there's a huge amount of content. Some of those will be repeated, but as I repeat them, we'll be looking at different content within the same topic or a different view into that thing. We're not going to be repeating anything exactly the same. But again, you don't have to be there or watch all of them. You can easily catch up or connect. There'll be a Slack channel, another Slack team, I hear you say. I'm sure we all belong to quite a few of these things. But a private closed Slack channel, 24/7 support. Obviously, you might have to wait until the hours of the morning, but certainly a way that we can all support each other with some of the things that are going on. And that's an easy way to arrange for peer review as well of the things that we produce. And the aim of this really is for you to go through this program, learn about yourself, learn about what's blocking you, learn about what it is that fires you up, what your passion is, and learn how to get that, combine it with ideas, create something innovative and useful, and take that out there into the world and lead with that. And that might be many things, because part of innovation, as we know, is to iterate. Does it work? Does it work? No, that one didn't work. Right, what's the next one? Let's try that. Until we've got something which is your thing, with your brand, which is amazing, which is helping others. And so there is a whole body of content which I've produced, but I'm also hoping that every thought leader will start producing their own content. And that means that we'll have a whole wealth, even more things to build off on. So the content will get richer and richer as more people join and more people contribute. So it should be an incredibly amazing, rich area of new ideas, new information for those who join to build their ideas upon, obviously everything referenced. So that's kind of, I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that's what I've got off the top of my head. Hopefully that's something that could pique your interest. In terms of cost, the full cost of the program, which is a year long, and obviously that, you know, you come to as many of these as you want, is £2,999. I can translate that into dollars. You might just jump on a currency change or euros. Probably should have put that up there in those two figures, but it should be fairly easy, whatever it is in the currency exchange. And for those who have been here tonight, if you do want to join up, Charlie, who is our marketing director, has created this code for us, which isn't here, which isn't going to help. Let me just find out what the code is. If you do want to join, then you can get a 10% discount off if you join in the next sort of 24 hours. I'm going to find out what the code is for you. So I'll find that out as we're going. And so we can do one more exercise while I find out that code. And then
hey, Simon, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, ask away. Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Thank you. This may not be your bag, but I think it's an interesting area in this space in terms of things like legal stuff, intellectual property, you know, some of those types of things. I don't know if you've got any thoughts about bringing any of that to the program. And then again, maybe not your bag, but any thoughts on monetization? Because we all have to eat at some point, I guess, right? And maybe one of the benefits that I think you listed in was how we can improve our day rates and other such stuff. But there are many channels for monetization these days, and I don't know whether you'd have a particular kind of adverse reaction to that. So those two things. Have you thought about the need for helping folks with IP and how they may choose to think about you know, ethical monetization, for want of a better word?
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. I hadn't put the IP in there as a program, but this is why it can be such a flexible program. I've left placeholders for this kind of stuff. I've got a lot of experience with patents and trademarks over the years, all those kind of things. So we can put some stuff together for that based on my experience there. And I'm happy to share that for sure around that. Because I've also had over the years people, and I've looked very much into the whole referencing and what is how you can reference things and all those things in your work. And I'm incredibly keen on ethical creation of work, so that you'll notice in any of my works, and I'm sure anybody who, you know, who has thought about this even for 5 seconds would do the same thing. Everybody's work is based upon somebody else's work somewhere. We all use building blocks from other people's work, and it's the decent thing, and in some cases the legal thing, to reference that. So yes, that's a fantastic idea. I can add that in for sure. Brilliant. I hadn't actually thought to put that in. Brilliant. Thank you, Richard. And then in terms of monetization, yes, absolutely. So that I definitely want to put that in there. I hadn't thought, again, to put that in there specifically, but it is obviously incredibly important. I've always had the monetization thing off the back of the work that I have done for community. So as I mentioned to some people here, when I started doing meetups and I started doing thought leadership and putting models and things out there, my day rate has literally quadrupled, and I do mean that. And that came literally from just being out there in the community and doing things. I mean, it's an incredibly advantageous thing when someone is willing to fly you somewhere. You turn up at their office and they've got your models stuck on the wall, and that they are teaching their organization through your models. And you know, that kind of thing means you're going to be in demand, and that's the kind of thought leader that I'm really hoping to create. The reason why I haven't pushed that right off the bat is because I'm not looking to create this program specifically so people can go out there and get greater day rates. However, you should be paid for what you've done. And if you're contributing to the community and contributing to the world at large and are making a difference to people's lives, then you are proving that on the world stage. You're proving that in front of others. And that proof itself that you can do that, and you're willing to stand up there and say, look, this works. This is what I'm standing for. That's worth something. And that's the reason why the rates go up, because people know that you are an entity which is willing to put your stuff out there. So absolutely, the day rates go up for sure. I've kind of seen it as a side effect, but we can definitely put something in there around perhaps how to make that more obvious. And one of the key things again in this is we all know from organizational change that it is very hard, and often we get stuck in organizations that weren't what were on the tin. We can't make any difference, no one's listening to us, and it's a very frustrating job. And often, especially as a contractor, you end up moving from one place to another, and nobody wants to do that. And so at least when you're more well known, you get pulled to places, and you get asked in. And you can, and because there's that demand, you're already going in there with a better standing to be able to say, well, look, these are the types of people I work with. At the very least, we need a way of working agreement at the beginning. We need at least a definition of what coaching actually means and how I'm going to help you. Those kind of things are, those things are a benefit, because you don't necessarily get that when you're kind of coming off the back of a CV. Whereas when you're coming as a thought leader, sometimes you don't even have a CV. You get pulled in without any question. So that's kind of what I want to create, that type of thing, but I haven't angled it at that, but that is what is a side effect in a way. Thank you for asking. Are there any other questions that anyone's got about the program, or anything to do with the, or anything to do with anything that we've said here tonight? And then we can do the last exercise together. Oh, and I need to find out that code. If there are any questions, do feel free to come off mute. Any more observations or anything about thought leadership? Okay, well, I'll open up the last exercise. And this is a chance to have a look at, just be really interested to know reasons not to join the program. Is there anything that's in your head of thinking, well, yeah, I'm not going to join because of this, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, feel free to stick it in. Any reasons why you would want to join? I really want to join this because, and you've got a box there. So feel free to put in what you think. And in the meanwhile, I will find the code. And then we'll have a look together at what these things are. Great. So the code, discount code, I'll put it in the chat. Fast track, that's the code. 2 T's. So again, I'll set the timer for, let's do it for 7 minutes, but I'll wait until all the activities stopped, and it might be before that. Let's see how we go. So do feel free to put in anything in any of the boxes. Cool. And while we're doing that, if anyone has any comments or anything that you would like to share with anyone, feel free to do that.
Hi, this is Antonia. My apologies. I signed on late, so I missed a lot of what you all spoke about and was wondering, are you having a second session or are you recording this? Is there another way I can get the information?
Hi, Antonia. Thank you for asking. We are recording it, and we have a YouTube channel, which is adventureswithagile.com/YouTube, and it will be loaded up probably in a couple of days. I should think it normally takes by the time we put it up there. And you'll see there's actually quite a few videos that of all our different meetups and things, but this one will go there as well on the YouTube channel.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for adding those. I'll leave this open for you to add anything else as we go. Let's have one more look also at the, see if there's any more people up here. I've got quite a few people now. Ooh. Fantastic. Yeah, some great names, great faces. Cool. Right, then let's have a look. Let's start off with the reasons not to join. Cool. So bosses pay for it. Am I ready for it? It's not quite relevant. Won't challenge me enough. Focused on working at the team level, but really want to follow the initiative develops equipment and time. Too expensive, the cost of it. Too many other programs, too many other things going on. I totally know the feeling. Cool. And then reasons to join. Next step of the journey. Love to have the conversations and connection with others. Doing it from experience. Oh, thank you for that one. Great idea to be part of this global community, and it fits with my professional goals and will challenge me in new ways. Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing all of those. I'll be producing a few more things. Feel free to keep adding these things to either of these boxes, because it will certainly help as well create a fuller program. If there's lots of reasons why people aren't joining, then we will adapt the program in some cases anyway, if we can, to amend to add those things in. That's always with feedback we can improve, and then hopefully the people that are wanting to join, I'd love to see you on the program. I'd love to see you there and connect and be part of this initiative to make a difference. I believe we can make a difference. I've always believed that we can make a difference, and to a large extent we have. The Agile community has had a huge impact on the world. It's gone viral. We are making a difference, and what I'm seeing is that we can make more of a difference. We can make more. We can do that together. And this program hopefully will help us connect into that, push the things forwards, and make an even bigger difference to the world of work and the world that we live in, and the connections we have, the relationships we have, and then that hopefully will feed back on us, so that we can feel more confident, so we can stand there in the light and say, I did that. And then hopefully, as we say, as a secondary benefit, this will bring you more recognition, more day rate, more working with the clients that you want to work with, that are in tune with your way of thinking, so that you can have even more of an impact there. That's the intention. And if any of you know me on a day-to-day, you'll know that I'm pretty flexible. So any of those people who are in the program, if we want to shape it or move it or change it slightly, then I'm more than happy to incorporate that in, because this is really about us building something that is pretty amazing. There's a good framework there already, and of course we can tweak it if needed. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to leave it there for the evening. I'm sure we're all, or I suppose it's not evening for all of us, but for those of us who are evening, we've probably had long days. Thank you for joining us if this is in the middle of your working day as well. I really appreciate that. I hope this has been useful not only to learn about the program, but also to start thinking about thought leadership and what that means and the impact that thought leaders have and that potentially you can have. I'll leave this mural here, and so feel free to come back and look at it at a future date if you wish. If you've got any other questions or anything else that you want to know about this program that you didn't really feel that you wanted to ask in this sort of larger setting, then you can either contact me through LinkedIn, or my email address is simon@adventureswithagile.com. So feel free to drop me a line, and I'm happy to answer any questions if I can. So just before we close out, is there anything anyone else would like to say? Anything anyone would else like to add? And if not, then we will close out the call.
Simon, just a question on the logistics. So if I understand it correctly, it's Monday to Thursday, the first Monday to Thursday of the month, 4 hours, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay.
Yes, correct. It's not always the first week of the month. Mostly it is. There's a few that are offset based upon various things like Christmas and other stuff like that. But yeah, and like I say, you know, people are welcome to join all of them, but it's not a disaster if you don't. There'll be plenty of ways to catch up. I'm not expecting everyone to be able to take 48 afternoons off in the year. It's designed specifically so you don't need to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Anything from anyone else? Thank you, Ash. All right. Well, in that case, I wish you happy with whatever you're doing, happy rest of day, whatever that might mean to you. And it's fantastic to see your faces again and to see new faces as well. I hopefully see some of you on the program or on a course or future meetups. So take care, and thank you all for being here, and see you all soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.